how's it going? Today I'm here with Jarvis and Charlie. Yay, thanks for
Hi.
being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Jerks. So today we're going to be talking about success. Now, success is kind of like an ambiguous, fuzzy type of thing, but I consider you two to be very successful people. So
Aw, thank
thought
you.
we'd
We
talk
don't
about
think
it.
that about you.
Ouch. Why are you here?
This is my house.
Yeah, I thought we'd talk about a little bit. There's a lot of like different definitions on what success is and how you measure success. So yeah, I thought I'd kind of like dig into what you two think about it. So I wanted to first pose the question, how do you define success?
I can start. So I think about success as like the agency and the freedom to pursue the work that you want to do. That is a luxury that not everybody has, and being at that point is honestly like at least one of the biggest pillars of success to me. And sort of to get into the nitty gritty, I think of success on like two axes or two sides, like the internal and the external. Internal is like the pride that you have in your own work, like wow, I did a cool thing and I'm awesome. And the external is being recognized by your peers and maybe your industry. And I think that you kind of need a mix of both. With just one, it doesn't quite work out.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Agree with the agency thing and also this two internal and external thing.
Right.
Because for me, I have to be proud of the work I'm doing, but I also need for other people to like be proud of me and recognize that.
Right.
Because if I do something that I love and no one else recognizes it or no one else thinks it's any good, then I'm like, oh, this is terrible. I was wrong, you know. And on the other side, if someone else says that I've done something really good and they're like, this is great work, well done, and I'm like, oh no, I don't believe you at all. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think that's good, so you're wrong.
I think people make it seem like it's very self-involved to be externally validated or to have any of those external factors in your success. No, you should feel like
Yeah, you
just you on your own is successful, but I don't buy into that at all. I
Yeah.
think it's kind of like what you said, like they are nothing without each other, and you can have unhealthy balances,
Yeah.
but they both have an important role.
Yeah, and as humans, I think we just like want positive reinforcement. Like that's part of our nature.
Absolutely, that's like an important part of being in a community. We did not evolve in isolation, we evolved in civilization together, and I think that the need for external validation is a natural side effect of
Yeah,
that.
completely.
So for me, it took a long time to define like what does success look like for me. I'm wondering like how did you two come up with like how you define success? Like was there like a pivotal moment or a time in your life where you realized what success was?
Yeah, I think that, so we were talking before we were recording about how I was a nerd, basically, let's just put it that way. I was very good at school, and I say good at school because like I was good at doing what was necessary to get a good mark.
Right,
that doesn't
right.
necessarily mean you're a smart person, it just means you're good at playing the system.
Yeah.
But when you get out into the real world, like no one's giving you an A+ or a gold star for doing your job. Like, yeah, there's things like bonuses and, you know, like being praised in meetings and stuff like that, but
Right.
you're not being graded as such. So yeah, I had to learn this internal, external validation thing.
Yeah. I had a very similar experience. When I graduated college, I realized there weren't going to be any more moments where like a big celebration happened,
Yeah.
right? And because of that, it forced me to reevaluate some of the reward systems that I had built up in my
Right,
brain,
yeah.
right? That was when I started to appreciate the journey. It's okay to have goals, as you should. I think that like I love having goals and striving towards them, but the goal can't just be you can't not enjoy life until you reach the goal that you want,
Yes.
because when you reach that goal, it won't make you happy. It's really just like a new guiding light. It's like a new direction to go down. But if not for the journey that gets you there,
It doesn't mean anything.
it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and like I actually echo kind of your two experiences too of like after college you have, I think this is what they call almost like a quarter life crisis, where you're just like, okay, I'm done with school, I went to college, now what? Because up until then you're literally just like, okay, high school, gotta get good
Yeah, in the
grades.
system, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like get into a good school, get good grades, get your master's, get your bachelor's, and then
Yeah.
like get your first job.
Yeah.
Okay, now you have like 80 years left of your life. Like
Yeah.
what are you gonna do with it?
And in a lot of cultures, like in a lot of, especially the community that I grew up in, it was like, okay, now buy a house, get married, have 2.5 kids and a dog, you know, and those were the other checkpoints.
Yeah.
But when I graduated, I realized like what game I had been playing this entire time. It made me less it made me want to sort of go my own way, and it made me think more broadly about success.
Yeah, and I think that's when I learned that agency side of things you were talking about before, was when there was no one like feeding me the validation and like the checkpoints and grades and stuff. I learned that, I just need to learn to be happy with what I'm doing all of the time, like not just that one moment where you get the good stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So now that you two have been out of college for a while and you realize like how, like what success is, how are some of the ways that you measure like whether you're doing well or not?
Mine comes down now to, which is like the opposite from the grades and things like that. Mine comes down now to relationships that I'm building. Because the people around us are really important. Not just for that external validation side of things, but just for enriching us in general as people.
Absolutely.
And so I focus my life now on like making decisions on where am I going to find my people? Like where am I going to find the great conversations, like smart people I can learn from and like, you know, have a good connection with.
I love that.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Like connecting with people is like one of the most fulfilling parts of life, and it's the most interesting part of life in a lot of ways. So that's awesome.
That's fine and good, but my answer is cold hard cash.
Fair
That's
enough.
how you know. Money equals life points. When those go up, that's how you know you're successful. No, I'm just kidding. That's not at all what I think. So for me, I like to make these goals, but I also need to keep myself honest with them and like track everything. Because when you are iterating towards your eventual destination, it's very easy to not see the forest for the trees. I liken it to like when you are going to the gym every day and like looking in the mirror, you don't see any of the gains, right? But when you go home for a Thanksgiving holiday or something like that, and you see a family member, your Uncle Jerry, who you haven't seen in like 2 years, he's like, wow, you look so different. And you're like, really? And it's like, yeah, here's a photo of us the last time we saw each other. And you're like, whoa, I'm a completely different person. And that's like a physical manifestation. But if you're not keeping track of your own stuff, it's easy to lose sight of how far you've come. And then you can't even appreciate that growth. Because then you're like, oh, I haven't done anything. And it's like, no, you were a completely different person and you grew into something else. And that is valuable.
Yeah, sometimes I like to just like sit and just have some me time and like really reflect like a year ago today, where was I? I was actually just reading your tweet on this where you were like, a year ago I was in a completely different like place, and now like here I am and I wouldn't have imagined it this way. And I think it's important to always be reflecting and like just be proud of how far you've come, but also see like, okay, in a year, in 5 years from now, like what's the general way or path that I want to walk toward.
And I think that those plans are like really valuable to have, but they're not like strict rubrics anymore. Like school was like the last strict rubric that you had, and now maybe you have a 5-year plan that is that way, and 2 years down the road you realize you want to go that way. That's not a failure. You've gathered more information. I think that that is like the part of the journey that we have to be cognizant of and we have to appreciate, because that is kind of just like the rest of life.
Yeah, that's why I think that you should set goals not based on achieving a certain thing, but more like a certain state. So like my career goals when I was in university was to work at a giant advertising agency, which is kind of the opposite of what I do now at a small tech company. And so if I was judging that as my goal and success, I've failed, right? But really what I should have said my goal was to like be doing creative work, be content with what I'm doing, be living a life where I get to make my decisions, work where I want to. Those are the goals that I think you should aim for.
Yeah, and I think that goal setting can be really hard sometimes too, because you really have to figure out what's important to you. Like that was something that I think over the last 2 or 3 years that I really understood, like, okay, what are good goals? Like good goals are hard to set, especially in life, but like through like asking about other people's goals and asking, you know, like what are the goals that you set for yourself that you succeeded, like are really important questions to ask yourself.
When I was in college, I was like, if I get a job at Google, game over.
Like that's it.
Roll credits. We did it.
Done.
Like done. And when I did an internship there, and then that like information, that's kind of an example of like going somewhere and then realizing like, oh, this isn't actually. I had this dream that was based on very little information of what it would actually be like. And it was just like an achievement. It was a huge external one where everybody would be like, oh, good job, you did the thing. And now I work at a smaller company where I have to keep explaining to people what it is. And if I was just basing my success off of like the external, right? Like, do people recognize the place that I work? Then I would be on a completely different trajectory in my life, and I'm really happy with where I am. But we have to be open to our perspective changing as we grow.
Totally. Thank you so much for sharing with us your story. This was really awesome. I love hearing about this stuff from other people. So thanks for having us. We also did collabs on their channels. So Jarvis, what do we do on your channel? Charlie, what do we do on yours?
So in this video, we talked about success, and in my video, we're going to be talking about failure. So
mine is not so closely tied in, but these guys are developers and I'm a designer, and so we talked about that relationship.
Yeah.
And the successes and failures that can happen.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's the segue.
So their channels and the collab links will be posted in the description box below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Bye.
To pursue,
Sorry. I don't know why I'm so giggly right now. Okay, sorry.
Need I drop a chopstick?
So I
Oh, wait, hold on, sorry. I don't want to be like burping while you're...